Hello, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, wherever you're joining us from. And this is the Leaders Priority Meetup for April 2023. My name is Kate Onokomaya, and it is my pleasure to be here today. And it's always a great time together where we learn, we grow, and we just have discussions around leadership. The Leaders Priority Meetup happens every first Thursday of the month. It's a free gathering of leaders where we come together to learn from each other, to grow, to improve ourselves, especially our self-leadership skills, because we believe that if we focus on developing ourselves as leaders, then we will be greater leaders of others. So self-leadership is really important. And today it is my privilege to have as our facilitator, my friend, my big brother, Coach Sylvester Chiemeka. He is a Maxwell Leadership Certified member in mentorship, and he is, I'll call him a growth enthusiast because he is so committed to personal growth and development. There's one thing I love about him, is that he is teachable. He is that leader who is always growing. He has an insatiable curiosity, and I've learned a lot from him. He's an inspiration to many. He coaches individuals and corporates in the area of leadership, personal growth and development, and mental fitness. So if you're looking at developing yourself as you're developing your mental muscles to help you to improve performance in your life and in your business or at work, then Sylvester is the person to go to. He's also a DISC certified consultant with Maxwell DISC. And today he's going to be sharing with us how you can reduce communication stress using DISC. Because when we understand how our personalities connect with the way we communicate, then life will be better. So at this time, I'm just going to shut up and hand over to Sly, as I call him, to take us on. Thank you, Sly.
Thank you very much, Kate. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me from where you are. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I hear you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Kate, for bringing me out to speak today on this topic, eliminating communication stress using DISC. Of course, you know that we can have stress in communicating with one another. While speaking to business owners and managers, employees, even couples in marriages, one thing that keeps coming up is the value, the importance of effective communication, communicating effectively. Now, communication is said to be effective when what is communicated is what is received in the manner in which it is intended to be received. Now, you can say something to somebody and he gets another thing. Yeah, in fact, we used to do this exercise where you say something to another person and he says it to a number of other people. And by the time it comes back to you, it's a complete different story. Now, we are aware, in fact, there has been many research results that linked communication to productivity in industries. Yeah, in companies where there is good communication, they are more productive than where you have all kind of cross communication and all kind of misinterpretations, misunderstandings, you know. And this is what we see every day, not just in companies, but even in churches, even in marriages, even among siblings. Everywhere people gather together to produce some kind of results, communication must be well managed, because that could become the problem. The stress can come from that communication and nothing is achieved. So why is that? Companies sometimes, when they want to improve their communication in the organization, they introduce technologies, emails, all kinds of things to make it smoother. They teach technologies on how to manage your moods and things like that. One thing they forget is that communication is part of our behavior. and we have different behaviors. Communication is a big part of our behavior. If we all had the same pattern of behavior, our communication effort would be much simpler. But that's a mirage. We are different. Just like the way our faces are different, we are different. Now, the truth of the matter is that we all have our communication preferences. What do I mean by that? Everybody has a way he communicates, the way he wants to reach other people. At the same time, everybody makes a demand on those he's communicating with, the way he wants to receive communication. This is described as the platinum rule. We are all familiar with the golden rule. The golden rule says, do to others the way you want them to do to you. But the platinum rule says, do to others the way they want. Let me actually read it the way I wrote it. It said, treat others the way they want to be treated. That's the platinum rule. It's a bit higher than the golden rule. Treat others the way they want to be treated. So in communication, it says, communicate to others the way they want to be communicated with. So there is a way I want to be communicated with. And so when I want to speak to Kate, I place a demand on her to communicate to me in my preferred language. And when we speak the same language, we have good connection. So if I have a way of knowing, if Kate has a way of knowing the demand I'm placing on her to communicate to me, she'll find it a lot easier to get to me and make that connection. And if I also have a way of knowing, having an idea what Kate's communication demands are from me, I will be better positioned to fulfill that requirement and we can connect more easily. It's even worse when we are in a group. When you're speaking to a group made up of different people, how do you know what those demands are? So you see, in organizations, there could be stress. Communication is actually, Kate, can you give me the power to share my slides, please? Can I share my screen? Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you very much. So I almost forgot I had slides. Okay. Okay, I believe you can see my screen now. So communication can be stressful, yeah, where we have no clue how what demands others are placing on us to meet. And sometimes we don't even know that it's a demand. Let's take an example. Among those that you communicate on a daily basis, there are those you find it difficult to talk with, to communicate with. There are those you find it easier to discuss with. If you're given a choice, you can choose, oh, I don't want to talk to this person. I want to talk with this guy. Why is that? It's simply that the way the guy talks naturally happened to meet your demands of communication. But you don't know whether the way you communicate meets other people's demands. By the way, DISC means dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. I was with Kate somewhere and we were talking about DISC. And people that came into our class said they were expecting to see things like CDs, discs. So please, this is not talking about disc, material disc, but it's talking about dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. So when we understand the demands we are placing on others and what we are giving, if we have a clue, we can actually do the job better. Now, of all, excuse me, of the many different personality assessment tools available, by the way, DISC is a personality type assessment tool. Of all the tools available in the market, DISC is one of the most helpful in the area of communication. DISC is used for so many things, including your leadership capability in 7 areas, a lot of things, but communication is a key part. And DISC is the best in this area among the various personality type assessment tools. There are so many assessment tools. You can go to Google and check. There are so many. You can choose any one. DISC is just one of them. And here we use the Maxwell method of DISC. So this particular assessment, for those who have done it, you see that it kind of x-rays you what you demand, what's your communication preferences are, the way you communicate, and the way you want to be communicated to. So when you know that, it becomes easier to communicate. Let's look a little bit into the origin of DISC. Don't mind these stone faces. I'll just briefly rush through it. I'm not a candidate of history. Now, but somebody called Empedocles, a Greek philosopher in 444, talked about 4 elements to describe human behavior. He talked about earth, air, fire, and water. He used those terms to describe the different personalities we have. Mark you, there are 4. He talked about earth, air, fire, and water. He recognized that people were different and behaved in a way that was influenced by those 4 elements. Then in the year 400 BC, somebody called Hippocrates developed a theory that each of us are affected by 4 internal fluids, and he identified those as choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, and melancholy. I'm sure many people are familiar with these terms. Yeah, that was far back in 400 BC. But in 1921, much closer to this era, somebody called Carl Jung developed this even further and identified that an individual's behavior can be looked into in 4 distinct categories, which he identified as thinking, feeling, sensing, and intuition. Now, know that in each of these theories, it's always 4. So there are 4 identified ways or personality styles, if you can call it that. The Myers-Briggs: thinking, feeling, sensing, intuition. So there are thinking people, there are feeling people, there are sensing people, and there are people of intuition. That's according to Carl Jung. This began to help identify and categorize human behaviors. Finally, in 1928, Dr. William Matheson identified the DISC theory, which was published in his book titled Emotions of Normal People. His DISC theory identified that while each of us is a combination of the 4 of these categories, we can connect our personality to styles in varying degrees in those 4: dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. Now, what this says is that actually nobody is just D, dominance, or nobody is just I, influence, nobody's steadiness, and nobody just C, compliance. We are a combination. But in that combination, there is a prominent one by which we are characterized. There's a prominent one by which we are characterized. So that's how we come to say, I'm a D, I'm a C, I'm this. But nobody is just a discrete D or a discrete C. There was I went to a company sometime last year to do this workshop and this debrief. And one guy came up with his assessment. And it was just a D, only D. So I sat him down in a corner and said, tell me how you got a D. Were you preempting the answers, or were you just answering naturally? After persuasion, he explained to me that he actually designed what he wanted to have and was answering not about himself, but what he wanted. So if he had answered correctly, he wouldn't have become a discrete D. So nobody is just one of these. We are all a combination. I don't know how many people here listening to me that have done their DISC assessment. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Now let's go into DISC a little bit more. Now, these are the quadrants: the D, the I, the S, and the C. I'm going to divide this quadrant into 4, and please go with me. If you are on the top, the D and the I, you are outgoing. If you are a D or I, you are outgoing. If you're an S and a C on the lower quadrant, you are reserved. Then on the left-hand side, as you can see, the D and the C are task-oriented, while the I and the S are people-oriented. Now, in any place you have people, those are where all of them belong to, in varying degrees. Now, you see that the D person, the dominant person, is outgoing and task-oriented, while the I person is outgoing and people-oriented. The same way the S person, the steadiness person, the steady person is reserved and people-oriented, while the compliant person is reserved and task-oriented. We all belong to these quadrants in varying degrees. So there are so many other things I'd like to talk about. In fact, I will go ahead and discuss just one step more to tell us more about this quadrant. So before we start talking about our communication needs and demands, which is the purpose of today's meeting. And please, as I go ahead, if you have a question, I'm willing for you to stop me so you can contribute. Yeah, if there's something you feel like I should have said or you don't understand, please indicate by raising your hand, either your digital hand or your physical hand. I'll recognize you and we can, make the conversation more effective. Yeah. So let's go one step deeper. The D person, the D-type person is somebody that seeks control. A D-type person comes into an occasion, wants to be in control, wants to know what's going on, where are we going, what are we doing here? He's decisive, he's direct, and he looks out for results. He looks out for results. So he's driven by results. He seeks control, he takes decision, he's direct, he doesn't go around corners, and he's looking for results. And we have, in the whole population, we have 3%. These people make up 3% of the population. Now let's look at the I person. The I person is persuasive, is spontaneous, is friendly, and he likes to be in the spotlight. There are people who cannot be hidden. He wants to be seen, he wants to be in the spotlight. Even the colors he wears shows that he wants to be in the spotlight. He talks a lot. Is the outgoing person, is the partying person. Yeah. And this type of people make up 11% of the population. Then the steady person is team-oriented. He follows through, he or she is a loyal person, and his heart seeks for acceptance. This is the kind of person that after doing a presentation, he'll ask you, how did I perform? He wants to be part of the team. I used to hear when my daughter said, oh, she'll be crying and say, Daddy, he said, I'm no longer her friend. I'm no longer her friend. So that alone so I know that she's a deep S person. She wants to be accepted. So a C person seeks acceptance. These people are 69% of the population. So there are so many of us here. We're quite many. This is where work is done. Now, sorry about that. Then the compliant person, the C person, as you must have, those of you who are C in this team, in this program must have calculated, they are 17% of the population. So they are compliant, they are analytical, they are planners. Their heart yearns for accuracy. They don't want to make mistakes. They want to be accurate. They want to be accurate. Now, Kate, can I stop you and ask if anybody has a question?
So yeah, you're fully in control.
Okay, please, does anyone have a question so we can make this discussion richer? If you don't have a question, make a contribution. There are 7 of us here.
Okay, let me add. It's important to know your communication style. Yeah, your this style, because we communicate based on our personalities. And one thing that I found most interesting with the DISC profiling is that, yes, as much as it's important to know my style, it is also very important that I'm able to predict other people's style. Like when I'm communicating, I know Sylvester mentioned something that we connect better when we speak the same language. And there's a language, you connect better, not just with your family members, those around you, friends, children, but if you're a business owner or a professional, you connect better with your customers or your clients when you speak their language. And when we look at it, for example, I am an S. It's easy for me to connect with other other people who are high S, because we know ourselves. I can see them, they are like me. So I speak to them the way I am because they will understand me. But if I'm communicating with someone who is a D, an I, or a C, I'll have to adapt and speak their language. For example, the D person who is very direct, decisive, and results-oriented and likes to be in control, I'll have to be very direct with that person if I'm communicating with that person. For example, I see my friend and big sister, Reverend Yemi, just joined us on Facebook. So she is a high D. And so when I'm speaking with her, I have to be direct. I have to show her the results that I'm seeking. And it's about the what for her and not the how. So I really have to be very focused when I'm speaking with someone who is a high D. And that's really speaking that person's language, recognizing who they are, their personality, and relating with them based on that. Thank you, Sai.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kate. Let me also share something that maybe will explain this further. I worked in a company where, the subordinates used to help the bosses make slides for their presentations. And as I understand it now, we had a boss who was a C, a compliant person. And compliant people, they want all the details. And most of us, I wasn't the one directly involved in this particular episode, but the guy that was supposed to do these slides was a high D for this boss. Now, if you're a D, you can see the challenge already. The D guy wants to be direct, decisive. So the guy wanted to make 4 points in his presentation. And what he wanted is to have each point explained in 4 slides. Each point in 4 slides. So he was expected to have a pack of 16 slides to make his point because he's compliant. He doesn't want to leave any details. He wants to analyze. He wants to be accurate. But the young man preparing the slide is a D. So he made all the 4 points in 1 slide. He did all the 4 points in 1 slide with brief explanations and sent to the boss. The boss was mad. He said, no, I can't take this. How can I go to this big meeting and put only 1 slide for all these big managers to see? I need to drink. Please make sure you read it. My friend came back and tried to do what the boss said. He now did two slides per point. He went back. Actually, he went back to the boss about 10 times before he was able to get this presentation close to what the boss wanted. Now, if you do the flip side, assuming that the boss was the D and the subordinate was the C, it would have been that the subordinate would come with a pack of 16 slides and the boss wanted only 1 slide to make the 4 points. You can see the frustration. So when we have an idea, what we expect, what the demands we make on others when we communicate, it will help us to align, to start aligning, to be able to present, what we're required in the way that it becomes acceptable to those that are making the demands on us. Thank you, Kate, for bringing that enabled me to share this particular example. Yeah, do we have any other person that want to contribute at this point? Okay, see none, let's go ahead. We've all had about Amazon Echo, this thing that this automatic things we use in a mobile phone or or the Apple Siri, that you can give a command. Last time I was driving and the road was not clear. I just asked Amazon. I just asked on my phone, Google, okay, Google, what is the traffic in front like? The voice gave me a rundown of everywhere there is hold up, the road I was going. And as I kept on speaking, asking the question, the voice is the same tonality, no emotions, everything was clear. But is this how we communicate as humans? What is the purpose of communication? When we communicate, there are many things that come into play. Yeah, we communicate for many reasons, but we communicate to influence, to motivate, to express feelings, and to inform. Yeah, so our feelings, like I said earlier on, our behavior is part of our communication. It comes through. So what the Amazon Siri The opposite is speaking to you. There is no behavior there. There is no feelings. He just talks, with a flat tone. And you get your information, but you don't feel as if a human being has spoken to you, because humans speak differently. It is the responsibility of the person giving the information to properly relay the message and the intent to the receiver. Unless this is done successfully, then this communication never really takes place. And it's often the cause of stress and conflicts, like we've been trying to express. This is why it's important to learn someone's communication language. It's very important to know your neighbor's language. If you can guess that this, like when I started working with Kate initially, I came to realize that we are both S, but we are different in our S because the other variables are different. Yeah. Sometimes Kate comes across to me as an I because she wants to do so many things at the same time. You will not finish this, she's doing another one. If I ask her a question about an application, she'll give me 3 more new applications that does the same thing. I say, oh, this is an I behavior, But we are both C's. We are both S, but there's a variation. So you see, yeah, we may be the same thing, but we have differences. So if you can estimate, if you can, have an idea, the pattern, that will help you to frame your communication in a way that the person that will respond to you will have a clearer and better understanding of what you're trying to say. So let's talk about the purpose of communication. In fact, that's what I've been saying. So let us now look into how each of these characters of personality styles receive communication. Let's look at, for instance, the D. Let's start with the D, the dominant. Now, remember that the D guy seeks control. He wants to be in control. He's decisive. He's direct. And his heart yearns for results. He's aiming at results. So you want to communicate to a D. From this slide, you can see, be brief, direct, and to the point. Then leave. Don't beat about the bush. Don't try to impress. Don't try to say things that are not necessary. Make sure that what you're saying is what you want to say. Don't try to ask the how questions. Ask the what questions. What am I to do? What do you want? Yeah. I was in a class doing this workshop, and a woman said, I teach students, and I realize that there are those that have good leadership quality. When I say, go and make this class stop making noise, somebody goes there and they stop making noise. But some other person comes to me and said, okay, you want me to stop them from making noise? Should I use a cane or should I shout at them? That those two are different, that one of them is dumb, one is not dumb. I say, no. The one asking question is a C. He wants to know exactly what you want. He doesn't want to make mistakes. He's not dumb. He's not less intelligent. Only he's a different personality. But the D guy goes out and says, everybody stop talking, and they'll keep quiet. The guy that comes to you to say, I need more information. How do you want me to do it? He said, but that's not a D guy. The D doesn't want to hear the how question. He's focused on result. Oh, you want the class to stop making noise. Oh, they've stopped making noise. So discuss the problem and its effect on outcome. His heart is yearning for results. When you start discussing problem and theorizing, the D guy is off. So people like that. If you comes to a shop to buy something and you're the shopkeeper, in fact, there's a course on 4 ways of the 4 selling styles and the 4 buying styles. The D guy comes to a shop, he wants you to tell him the right price. He doesn't haggle because his greatest fear is being taken advantage of. So if you give him the price, first of all, he's going to tell you it's too high. But if you now think you want to be a good guy, you reduce the price. Oh, you lost him already. You have lost him because he now feels that you're trying to, cheat him. He walks away. But if you insist and say, oh, this is the last price, in fact, I'm not quoting price for you, he will probably buy from you. That's the buying style of the D. So he's direct. So Always be focused on your results. Don't ramble. Don't give him specs. Don't give him details. Now, can somebody share any interaction you have with a D, or if you're a D, if you think you're a D, if you don't know your own assessment yet, or anything that can give us, enlighten us more on this? Anyone? Let's talk about the Ds. Which Ds do you know? Okay, we're 8 in this class right now. So can somebody share with us, communicating with a D, your experiences? Please, if you want to share, just unmute yourself and start speaking. I can't see any hands. Okay, I'm going to call people by names. Yeah, I have.
Let me share.
Okay, thank you, Mite.
My son is a D. He
All right.
just feels that he knows everything. Even when you're telling him, he will bring his own points to argue with you, you know, and because I know, so sometimes I just have to reduce my voice. I just have to play along. I just have to, you know, find a way of also making my points heard and also let him understand that in as much as you know, and major times you're correct. I'll just give an example. He's doing his classes, what do you call it? He went for this mock jam exam, and he was bided for 9 a.m. but I got there about 7:30, and he said this is waste of time, that they don't need him until 7:45 or 8:45. I said, no, just go there, try and register and see. He said, oh my God, I don't need this. I've done my work. I don't know why you people don't understand. I have done my due diligence. I know I'm not needed to 8:30. I had to call the teacher. And so the teacher said, oh, madam, you don't have to go until 8:40, 8:30, you know, because you don't need him to be there. And the guy just went, you see what I've told you? And, you know, so these are people that, you know, they just believe that, look, I've got it covered. You know, I know what I'm doing. So if you have a D, it can be very frustrating, you know, because they go ahead of you. They want to stand, even with my experience as mother, and I'm saying, do like this. You said, no, this is the way it should be done. This is the way I believe that it can be done. I mean, that's how they are. We had an argument, and it says, someone who reads every time, do you think the person is better than someone who plays, but when the result comes out, that's they come out with very intelligent results? So those are the kind of people these are, you know, and they push it on you in a subtle way, in an intelligent way that with all your intelligence, you might just feel stupid sometimes. So these are like that. I have one, and I'm learning every day to deal with it so that I can also influence and impact on them.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing that. On the chat, I see Lydia says, my husband is a high D. He focuses on results. It took some time to understand his communication style, but now it's quite easy to understand him. Lydia, can you say more? Can you tell us more about this?
Yes.
Please.
So when we got married, I didn't understand his style. So it frustrated me sometimes because me, I'm C. That time I didn't even know about that, but I always wanted him to have time and we talk and go into details and understand more. But he had no time for that, especially when it comes to budget. For him, he was bringing we used to budget together, but he would say, you have to deal with this. This is your responsibility. The money is here, you manage it. Me, I'm busy with other things. It was quite frustrating for me sometimes. I had to handle the children, everything. And I got frustrated sometimes, but now I understand very well that he's just focused on results. And he achieves what he wants because he wants to have everything done. He wants to see everything moving. That's how he is. But I also helped him also to have the other side of mine. And now we are moving together.
Great.
That's how it works. But it was quite frustrated in the beginning because I couldn't understand. He doesn't have time to talk and go into details. Me, I want to talk. He doesn't have time to talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you. All right, so we continue. Right, let me go to the next style so we can look at the communication style of an I. Okay, the I. Now, know that this guy is persuasive, spontaneous, friendly. And I also can say talkative. He wants to talk. He likes to be part of the discussion. So how do you communicate with this person? Don't do all the talking. Give him or her opportunity to share. Don't ignore their ideas. There must be time for socializing. Follow up with details. Now, the interesting thing here is 4 short 10-minute discussions are better than 1 40-minute discussion. I used to accuse my friends that are I's, more higher than me in I, that they have short attention span. This guy is spontaneous, is friendly, he overpromises and underdelivers. I can explain this. He's like a butterfly. What does a butterfly do? A butterfly sees a beautiful flower, perches on it. Before it lands on it, it sees a bigger flower that is brighter, takes off to that one. And before it lands on it, it sees a further one that's brighter. He goes there. So that's how people, the I people are. They want to be on the spotlight, And if you see their colors that you cannot ignore, So they are spontaneous. They will tell you, okay, I'll call, give me your number. You give them your number and they'll write it down. I'll call you. In fact, before the close of work, I'll call you. But as he or she goes to the next person, she does exactly the same thing. And by the time he's finished with that person, he's already looking for the third person. And all the other people that she has collected their numbers, may not even, I think she probably remember the last person, to call if she calls at all. So that's the kind of person they are. They want to go to the next new thing. What is the buying style of an I person if he comes to a shop? He wants the latest model. He wants the brightest model. Is there any other version of it? Is there a better version of it? Is there a newer version of it? So he's not interested in the specs anyway, but he's interested to know how new it is, how shiny it is. I know we have this kind of people. They'll prefer to talk to you than writing a note to you. They prefer to call you on phone and speak to you than writing a note to you. Can you share your experience with these people? Anyone? By the way, who's an I here? Any I here? I'm going to call some names here now. Mamodu, can you share with us your experience?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am a next CI. So I'm not really an I, but an occasional I when the situation is conducive to interacting and when I actually feel at ease. Thank you.
Okay. Your audio is not quite clear here. We can't hear you very well. I just heard that you are SCI or something like that. Okay. Did anybody hear him well?
Yeah, I think Mamado said some. He said he. Oh, do I have an echo?
Big echo.
Is it better now?
Yeah, better now, yes.
Okay, so what I heard Mamado say is he leans his eye strength comes out sometimes, depending on the situation. So he can be perceived as an I in some instances, you know, where he's more outgoing than others. Yeah. But
Okay.
that's it.
Okay, let me share an example about my daughter.
I hope you can hear me. Okay.
Oh, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, she said it right. She said it right. I'm a Nessie I. So sometimes, depending on the situation, I can be a I, but mostly a Ness. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Let me share an example with my daughter, who is an I. Okay. We are preparing to travel for a visit to the village, and everybody is busy packing up their stuff, their dresses, their shoes. And my daughter is busy asking me, this family, are they coming? That family, are they coming? This friend, are they coming? Can we go and see them? What's your plan? So she's interested in where there's going to be some social gatherings, not thinking about, oh, did I put my shoes or did I get my right dresses? You know, and she's always the last to pack up her things because she has to make sure that it's worth her while to go there. She cannot go there if she doesn't see all those friends. She must make sure that those friends are going to be around. If we want to go to church on Sunday, she'll ask me, what time are we closing? You know, who are we going to see? Where after service, where are we going? Is there a party somewhere? So always looking for a place to socialize, you know? So I know that even though she has not done her DISC assessment, she's a very high I. Kate, your hand is up. Can we hear you?
Yeah, I mean, as you're talking about your daughter, and I know you, Miche talked about her son. It's just dawning, you know, this our styles, our personality styles, they don't just come from, they start showing up right from childhood.
Yeah.
You know, as early as children, we can look at our kids and maybe think about ourselves when we were children. You see that these things, it's always been there. You've been, your behavioral pattern has always been there from childhood, and it's just, you're just becoming aware of it right now. So that's just what I'm thinking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's move on to the next.
I just wanted to point out something. While she was saying this, I just imagine, you know, when people get married, we observe these things as when they're children, and sometimes we end up not telling the truth, and then they go ahead and get married to spouse, and then they begin to have troubles. We can't help, but if we can observe on time and help, you know, some of these, especially like the D's and the I's, we help them create a balance. I think when they go older and get into a relationship, they'll be able to maintain certain relationship because they know better. So I just wanted to add this to what Kate is saying, that if as parents we observe on time, we can help our children on time to create that balance and know how to communicate with others who are not in the same personality traits with them. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that out. I use this in my marriage counseling. I do a lot of marriage counseling of couples, especially those that are having some challenges. You realize that most of these challenges stem from crossed communication, you know, lack of trust. Yeah, so I normally seek a session to sit down with them, and where they're not willing to do the DISC analysis, I bring down the theory. So, you know, show them the different personality styles and their characteristics, especially each person's greatest fear. And I discovered that in the process, each person discovers the other person. You know, when I said D, his greatest fear is being taken advantage of. The S, being criticized and things like that. And oh, no wonder. Oh, no wonder. So for if you happen to, you know, get you know, this responsibility of counseling marriages, it comes very handy. And once people get awareness, once the awareness is created, you know, you see people respond differently. They now start seeing the other person not as the devil they thought the person was, but seeing that their behavior is naturally wired and is linked to, you know, what this disc is talking about. So it helps a lot. Thank you for bringing that perspective. Let me go to the next one. I'm looking at our time. Let's go to the next style. The S style. The S person is team-oriented, is the us person, us, we. He follows through. He's loyal. He's the kind of person that comes to work early and stays until everybody goes, comes to the meeting early and is the last to go. And he wants to be part of a community. He wants to form community, he wants to be part of the team. Yeah. He is not working because he's not accepted, but it is his nature to make sure things are done the right way. So he stays long enough to see that things are done. He follows through and he seeks to form a community. Yeah. So how do you communicate with that person? You have to create a friendly tone for the discussion. Show interest in him or her as a person. Don't be too aggressive. That's where I'm an S, and that's why I have issue with the Ds. When you start speaking and I notice immediately that you're not friendly, that can turn me off quickly. Minimize the potential for confrontation. They're not good at managing conflicts at all. Give definition to the goal and everyone's role. Things have to be clear from the onset. What am I supposed to do? Give them time to adjust to any changes. Don't do very quick changes, very quick decisions. Don't just take very quick decisions because you won't carry them along. Because an S person is a processor. He processes information. You know, he processes information. He needs to find out, you know, this particular brand of phone you want me to buy, who has bought it before? How good it is? How good is it? You know, he will go to Jumia to check, go to Google to check the specs, you know, who has bought it before? Get social acceptance, you know, social proof before making a decision. That's the S person. Now, who is the next S in this meeting? They are not good at managing conflicts at all. We are not good at managing conflict. Yeah.
And that's here.
All right. So tell us about it.
Yeah. I used to actually run away from conflict or just close the door. Since my audio is not working properly, I don't know why.
I can hear you, Mamadou.
I can't hear him.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Please go ahead.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was saying, in the past, I used to run away from conflict, but now, yeah, it seems I have improved, and yeah, I have significantly improved, and sometimes even can be a mediator in situations of conflict at work or in other places. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Like I said before, I'm an S. I know that Kate is S, but we're different.
Yeah,
So,
I'm an S, and I think like I'm very uncomfortable with conflict, but growing up like Mamadou, I would just avoid it by all means. In fact, when I see it coming, I'll just shut myself in and just put myself aside. I don't like confrontation. So right now I have to deal with it because of the work I do. And as I relate more with people of different personalities, I know that conflict is something that I have to deal with. I'm still not comfortable with conflict. It's just one of those necessary, I could say a necessary evil, if I could say that, but it's not something I'm really comfortable with. I just deal with it as it comes, and I don't run away from conflicts like I used to earlier on.
Okay, I just need to point out one particular thing about the S. You see where it says give definition to the goals and everyone's roles. An S can actually behave as a D when all the boundary conditions are met, when all the boundary conditions are known, when you define what each person's role is, the boundary conditions, and S can take quick decisions. And S can be authoritative. Yeah, just like a D. So, but the difference is that the S needs to have his definition clearly spelled out for him. That is one thing we must know. Yeah. Okay, so let's progress. I want to complete in the next few minutes so we can have our discussion. All right, let's go to the C. This guy is compliant, analytical, planner. He wants to be accurate. The C guy asks a lot of questions. He asks, if you want to sell something to him, show him all the specs, show him the versions, show him all the ones that are available. Even tell him when the next version is coming out. You know, that all this will help him make a decision so that he will be accurate without making mistakes. And when he sees asking you many questions, it does not mean that he is dumb or he does not understand. He's just gathering information to make sure he makes the right decision. So provide all the details. Use validated facts. Be precise in your explanation. Be very specific. Be patient. Answer all their questions and follow up to provide them with the additional data they request, because they'll come back for more data. They'll come back for more information. When you talk to a C and he keeps quiet, it does not mean acceptance. For a D, when they keep quiet, it may mean acceptance. But for a C, no, it does not mean acceptance. He's waiting for more information. So that's the C people. They look for more information. They keep asking for more. They need to get the details. They want to be accurate. All right, so who can tell us your experience with a C, or whether you're a C, and how does it come manifest in you? Anyone?
Oh, I have two C's in my home. My husband is a C, and one of my sons my second son is a C. So for my son, he's organized. He likes things being in order. So you always find him trying to put things in order, arranging stuff. He's very good with arranging stuff, putting things in order. That's his strength, and he asks a lot of questions. Right. Yeah. So my husband is a C. He's very analytical, and he asks a lot of questions. He wants to know the steps. How did you arrive at this? And when he wants to buy something, he can check like 20 different catalogs, websites. You will check here, is it the same? How did they describe it? You look at all the reviews, and oh, he's so detailed. He likes details, and sometimes it's frustrating, but I've learned that that's how he is. So when there's a decision to be made, I start early.
That's interesting.
I start early. I prepare myself. I prepare the facts, the figures, so that when I help him to get ready on time, because I know that he needs those details, he needs the facts. So when I need us to make a decision, I prepare, I start early and give him time so that it to come faster.
Okay, I just saw somebody on Facebook that said, I think it's Yemi, that I am a DC. Kate, can you say something about DC combination?
Okay, the DC, DC is they're D and C, they are very task oriented.
Yeah.
They are not very relational. So as a D, a DC, Ayemi is a high D.
Okay.
She's very task oriented and she's always doing something. They can be very busy. And then she likes to have structure. That's where the C comes in. Because as much as she likes to get the results and she's very, very focused on that, she likes to have structure. How is this going to be? Make the plans and everything so that I can get my results quickly. So that's how it plays out as a DC. But one thing with them is they are great learners and they see mellows than the D because they are willing to listen. Naturally, a high D is not very good. It's not a very good listener. But because the C comes in and Yemi is really balanced in her profile, the C, she takes time to listen and get the facts so that she can provide structure and get her results quickly. But she doesn't like anybody slowing her down. So she's very fast-paced. She's so fast-paced. Don't slow her down. That's one thing.
Okay, Tasia Rosita, can you tell us about your boss? Your boss is a C. Can you tell us about your boss?
Okay, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
All right, so like I said, my boss is a C. And when I started working with him, initially I used to find it very difficult. Like I would do something, okay, sir, please let's do this and this and that. And he will not accept it. He will not accept anything. I will be like, is it that he doesn't want me to do this thing, or he doesn't want us to profit, or you keep imagining. But then when I went to this teaching somewhere, so I got to understand that, okay, so this is how he is. And so I kind of communicate better because I come specific reasons and I'm more detailed things now. Whenever I want to present an issue to him, I just make sure I get facts, just come up with facts, details, so he can finally accept. And when he finally accepts, I just give a sign of relief. So that is just my boss for you.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, so let's make progress to the final slides so we can open the room for discussion. Right. Now, I don't know if you've done your purchase your disk report, you'll see a page like this. What I've done doing this for organizations, for companies, is basically have each person in the team share this particular page that talks about, this is for Sally. It says when communicating with Sally is a precisionist, do the following. And when communicating with Sally, do not do the following. Now, we have the teams, the members of the team, print out this for themselves, put in a prominent place in their corners, or when they have different offices, paste on their doors, so that their teammates know exactly their communication demands and requirements, the way they want to communicate and the way they want to be communicated to. So like that, they can actually start aligning, so that the communication can be. And when you make any slight move to communicate in somebody's language, it's like a foreigner coming to your community and trying to speak your local language, even though they make some mistakes, but you help them. Once you see someone trying to align with your own communication needs, see there's a synergy, there's something that happens, there's a connection, like when this becomes magical is when a D and a C are trying to align. They are both task oriented. Or when a D and an S are trying to align, the D is task oriented and active, and the S is people oriented, and it's not active, it's reserved. So they are vertically opposite. But when The S makes effort to tell a D, oh, I know you want quick results, but allow me to process because I'm a processor. You see, there's an alignment, you know. You want this quick, but please realize that I cannot do this until I have processed and checked my system to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Or the compliant person tells the guy who is vertically opposite and say, look, you know that I know you want to have some fun, but give me time to do my research. You know, there's an alignment, there's an understanding. So this is what we do for organizations. Now think about, like I talked about in marriage, think about the wife and the husband sharing this particular sheet of their assessments. Think of people that work in committees sharing this part of their assessments. It will automatically remove the stress points. It will like grease the wheel and make it faster for people to run. You see that person that normally when he speaks, you get angry without knowing the reason, you can take it away because you now see that this is the person's natural wiring. You know, so we start blending to communicate, to kind of estimate. You know, I said we make demands. We have our preferred method and we make demands on other people to communicate to us in the way we like to be. So to end this particular session so we can start going to the Q&A, when you know the pattern, when you recognize the pattern, you can estimate what the animal is. So thank you very much, Kate, for giving me a chance to share. So let us do the Q&A.
Awesome. This is amazing. Thank you, Slide. This is good. Let's see. Yeah. Questions, answers, amazing contributions, everyone. Questions, answers are questions and contributions are still welcome. We would love to hear how this affects you at work, at home, and with your friends and business partners, because that's something we want to really get right. When we get our communication right, then a lot of things align in our lives. So one way that this has helped me is, first of all, in my family, like I said, my son, my husband, they're C, and then there's another, we're 2S. So we need to really get to know our loved ones, know their communication style so we can eliminate stress when it comes to connecting with them. So let's share, how does this affect you and how do you use this? Is there any part of this that you do not understand and that you would like to get more clarifications on? This is the time. Let's just have fun. Let's discuss. I see my mother is asking, please, would you advise that the DISC assessment be taken frequently? It depends on the frequency is not really what matters. Yes, we know that sometimes the situation or the environment where you took the assessment could influence your results, but it's not going to really vary so much. For example, an SC, maybe Mamado, you're an SCI, it could just vary in the arrangement. So after with awareness, with growth, it could be something like an SIC. So it really depends on the variation, but most often the degree, the degree matters. It could just vary slightly. So we do not advise you taking it many times or frequently, but if you can, that's still okay. Yeah, just give yourself time to grow in awareness. Yeah. That's good. Great. I've taken it several times and my S has not changed. My S hasn't changed. Yes, the degree, the variation changes, but it hasn't changed. Yeah. And one thing that I also would like to add is You know, sometimes we think our personalities or our style is lesser than another, or we think, oh, maybe I think I should be a D, or maybe I should be an I, you know, because I admire these, they're outgoing, they're talkative. I want to be able to talk like that, you know. Well, what I've noticed is every style has its strengths and weaknesses, and we need to just embrace who we are and focus on our strengths and grow within our strength zone, then seek alliances with those of other personalities, because that's why there are different personalities, so that we can connect with others, we can collaborate, we can seek alliances with those who have different strengths, and then we'll have a balance in our organizations and around us. Yeah. Yes, if you'd like to take the DISC assessment, perhaps you haven't taken it before and you like to take the DISC assessment, then you can contact me or Sylvester after the session, or you can just send me by sending me a private message, or maybe you want to talk about your personality style. You've taken the DISC assessment and you just need a little bit of clarification. You want to talk about your style. That's why we are here on the Leaders Priority. You can ask the question here, or you can contact us, you know, after the session, and we'll be ready. We'll be very willing to have that discussion with you to just clarify some aspects of your personality, your style that you're not clear about. But I'm an S, and I'm very happy to be an S. I understand my personality, my strengths, and that helped me to lead. I lead with my strengths, I lead with my personality, and it's who we are. Embrace it, embrace who you are. Yeah. Thank you for that question, Mamadou. Let me see, are there any others on Facebook? Michi, I know you work with DISC, you work with young people. And you also work with families in your parenting platform. I would really love to hear from you.
Yes, Kate, yes, I do. And it's so revealing when people get to find out that all the years they've spent yelling and shouting, you know, on their children, all they needed to do was just understand the character, how this person is wired, how this person is made, and then you save yourself as a parent from all the high blood pressure, or you know, all the, you know, headaches and pain and sickness that come with yelling and shouting, and all the time wasted going to do deliverance, because some of us, we're so spiritual as Africans. And then when we see certain behaviors, we just believe that the devil, this child is possessed. I've seen parents who really use such words on their children. This child is possessed, you are from devil, you're from the hell. You know, we say all manner of things that at the end of the day haunt these children, and then we expect them to turn out well. So I think as parents, we need to work on ourselves, work on our emotions, and it starts by you understanding your personality type. You need to understand you first. The people I've worked with, and I'm happy when they come back and say, do you know, I never realized that as a child I was like this. You know, this is going back to what we mentioned earlier. I didn't know I was a child. So when they see those mannerism and behavior in the children, they use this particular word. They'll come back and say, a tree does not fall far from its, a fruit does not fall far from its tree. So they begin to understand. And then from that place of understanding, they help, you know, the children to overcome, because some of them are very negative. You see parents say you're stubborn, but now we have tried to change the narrative by saying, oh, this is a strong-willed child, is a D, you know, and this is how they are, but this is how we can help to work with them. So it's very frustrating at first when you're in that space of, should I say, darkness or illiteracy, because You find yourself when you now come to a place of knowledge. So I will really advise that parents, first of all, like I believe in transformation, it starts with you first. So parents need to take this DISC assessment. They need to first of all understand themselves, be in a stronger place to help your children. Because why do we yell? Is when you feel you have failed, when communication has broken down. And communication is key, you know, in parenting in anybody. Most of our children who deal with low self-esteem is because they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to come from that space, you know, to deal with issues of bullying. And bullying is one issue that is predominant. If you don't mind, I would like to share one of my stories. My son was on the big side, plump, you know, the kind of child when you see, you say, this one is the blessings of God, make it rich. And fat, you know, he was like that in primary school. So when he entered the secondary school, I started noticing, you know, he was very conscious about himself. He couldn't relate when people talk about his body. You know, it was more like body shaming for him. Now he went into a circle where people would quarrel. You know, the kind of facts that they'll say, are you a girl? How come you're getting breast? Well, you know, so these things was very intimidating to him. And trust some children that are even skinny, they'll be the one that will mount him. By year two, HS2, my son was like skeleton. I was scared. I was worried. He kept asking me, why did you bring me to this school? Why this? Why that? So I had to dig in more. I had to find out more. And that's when I realized that he was intentionally skipping food so that he can slim down. Because he couldn't deal with the fact that people were always talking about his body and how big he is and all that. It took me time. I mean, he had to tell me, look, you're telling me I'm okay because you're my parents, but I am not okay, you know? So I had to now, first of all, deal with mental issues or self-esteem issues, you know, before I brought him to a place where we say, okay, fine, now you have gone extreme. Can we now work on an appropriate body? That's when he accepted to me and told me the reality that he actually did all this because they were laughing at him. So parents, we need to understand before you start beating the child and quarreling the child and say you're not this. So it affects even the academics. They can't read. They can't study. It affects their mentality towards life. They feel like, why should I succeed? Let me just be average, you know, so that nobody will see me. Let me disappear. I will just be there, you know. And so it affects their mentality, it affects a lot of things. So taking this disc would help you understand you, then help you to understand your child and where you can help them, where you can come in, where you can support, give the support to them. And I tell you, your family and your home will be more at peace. Now you don't see your child talking to you as insult or being rude. You look at it, oh, this is the child. Let me allow them speak. Many of us were shut down when we're growing up. Today, I talk for a living, but I was shut down when I was growing up. You know, there are people that this talk now is now making money for them, but it wasn't like that. They tell you, talkative science students don't talk. But how do you make your presentation if you don't know how to talk? So we find a lot of scientists who don't know how to present. They can't be in the boardroom. They can't argue. They can't present their matters because they were told that science students don't talk. It's art students that talk. You know, so many of these misconceptions can be corrected when we do the disc, when we understand better, and then we're able to channel the energy of our children towards positivity instead of negativity. Instead of shutting them down. I think I've talked enough. Thank you, kids, for the opportunity.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Muti. That's so true and amazing story. I like thank you for sharing your son's experience because it's really what a lot of young people are going through right now. And as parents, as caregivers, guardians, we need to be aware of this and help them to get over this so they can become, you know, more assertive and more, it can be more self-confident than they are right now. Yeah, your son, in fact, he doesn't really look it at all. He's such a fantastic, trim, handsome young man, you wouldn't know. Right. Thank you for sharing, Muti. It reminded me of a young lady whose parents came to me a few years ago and told me they want me to speak to her, to work with her, because she had serious conflicts with everybody in school, her teachers, her classmates, and at home it was very difficult to control her. So we had to do, I did a DISC assessment for her. I had done one with her parents. Her parents had taken the DISC assessment too. That's why it's important that parents really take this assessment, so they will know that it's important to get to know their children as well. And after coaching with this young lady, and we designed a personal development plan for her, she understood why she was like that. And after she said, oh, that means there's nothing wrong with me. I said, no, there is nothing wrong with you. Really, because young people, they'll start thinking there's something wrong with them when it's just their personalities, who they are. So we recommend this to everyone seeking to improve their communication skills and to reduce stress. This knowledge, awareness really reduces communication strength. I want to say a big thank you to our speaker today, Sylvester, for joining us for this fantastic presentation. And we've had so many contributions from everyone. This is the Leaders Priority Meetup, right? We want to hear from you. We have people on Facebook, there are people watching on Facebook. And if you're on Facebook and you like to contribute, you like to come on and share, you can join the Zoom room, or you can post your comments in the thread on the thread. Let's hear your comments. Solomon wants to speak, he wants to contribute. So you can post your comments on Facebook, or you can join the Zoom room and post your comments. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who joined today. And I'm not seeing any questions on Facebook or any more questions here on Zoom room. If you'd like to share, let me just give maybe a few minutes, or anyone else want to share. Yes, my hand is raised.
Okay, thank you, Ma. My name is Rajuno. Thank you, Mr. Sylvester. I'm an S and on social acceptance. I find it very I feel I stress people a lot, because maybe I go into a shop to buy something now, and I know the thing is good, but I want to get views from maybe 2 or 3 persons. And the owner of the shop, some of them get a bit funny, keeping their face somehow. Madam, you are stressing me on all that. Most times I feel bad, but that's my personality. I want to know whether it's really, really good. And I'll be stressing, is there something better? Is there a new edition? Like maybe it's a phone power or what? I don't know how I can manage that.
All right, so.
Sorry, I didn't get a question. I was a bit distracted. That's why I removed my video. I was distracted here. So
okay. All right. So let me see. She says when she goes into a store to buy something, it takes her, she's an S. So it takes her time to make a decision. She wants to ask a few people if it's the right thing, if that's okay, if it's okay. And sometimes the sellers or the store personnel will get frustrated. Madam, make up your mind. You're taking too much time. So she's asking, is that and that frustrates her, because she's not sure if that is if the product is the right one, or if there are better options. So she has to make inquiries. She has to ask others. What would you say?
Okay, I can reconcile with, I experience that also because I'm a high S, and I experience exactly the same thing. So you are not out, it's normal. But what I do is that I do my research upfront. If I'm going to buy a phone, I will take a month. I'm not joking, a month to look at models, features I want. I will check it. I will Google it everywhere that's Googleable. I will read everything about it. And I will make up my mind what I want exactly. I will check everything I need to check, and ask my friends, those who are using the same type of phone. When did you buy your own? How long have you used it? How has it served you? And until I get to the point where I have, socially proven that particular phone that this is working. When I go to the shop, that's not where I make the choice. I made the choice outside the shop. So when I go there, I'm just going to check whether you have the color I want, because I know what is inside already, more than the seller. So because I know, I call myself a processor because I process information. Let me tell you an example. I hope we still have some 2 minutes, Kate. So I went to the next shop in Port Harcourt one day with my wife. I've told this story many times. And my wife, she's a high D. She's decisive. She had wanted to buy a sewing machine since the last one she had was went bad. So she saw this shining machine displayed. She said, "Oh, do you have your card? See sewing machine, I'm going to buy it now." At that point, I knew I was in trouble because I have no time to process. I needed to do something. I said, "Okay, excuse me, let me go to the toilet. This is life. What did I do to think? What am I going to do?" At that point, I realized that sewing machine, they have brands, they have models. There are some that are famous. There's one called Singer, there's one called Butterfly. There are all types, and this one is none of them. That was my escape. I said, "Madam, you know that these things are bought in models, and models, they are the models that are popular. They've been proven over time, and this one is not one of them. It may be made in China. I don't have anything against the China people. I was trying to escape. What am I trying to escape? To do my research. So you must be prepared, because I knew who I'm with. And to stand in her presence and start saying, "Oh, this, oh, that," so she can't take it. So I just said, let's look for the brand that is, do you know the Singer brand that we had before, that your mother had? Do you know the butterfly machine that your friend had? Using my own thinking now, thinking within my own skill set. She said, yes, I know that one. It worked for a long time before it got spoiled. And this one has not been tested by anybody I know. At that point, I've now turned her into my own frame of thinking. And I'm able to come out of next shop without the sewing machine. Do you understand that? Can you get that?
That's amazing. The thing is, for us, like S people, they make decisions by consensus. So
Exactly.
they want to have consensus from maybe 2, 3, or 4 others to be sure that, okay, this is the right decision to be made and all that. So that's why you find yourself wanting to seek other people's opinion, want to check and double check, cross-check to make sure that you have social proof before you can make the decision. So they make decisions by consensus. So if you know that, I like how Sylvester processes his own. He does it up front. He seeks his proof, his social proof from the back end, so that when the time comes, he's ready to make the decision. It's not at the time that the decision is supposed to be made that he now starts seeking to get consensus from 10 different people. That can slow down decision making, and it's not very advisable. So awareness is key. Knowing your style is key. Knowing that you need consensus when it comes to decision making is very important. So you start getting that consensus early so that you don't slow down decision making. Thank you for that question. Fantastic. I see Mamado says I can relate. Mamado, what can you relate? Is it with Sylvester's buying behavior? Yeah.
Exactly. Actually, Google is my friend. Amazon site is my friend. I will check online. So that's not when he will see.
Yeah.
I will check thoroughly before I can be sure. Even if they still check.
You know, interestingly, like I know that as Sly has mentioned, I'm a bit different. I can be rather spontaneous when it comes to buying. So I'll just buy and then that's when it's after I've bought that I'll go and start, oh, I should have checked. I probably should have. So I am more spontaneous when it comes to my buying style. I'm more spontaneous than sometimes I do check, but not a lot of times. I just don't have that time to check. I just know I need this thing right now, and once I see it, I buy it. I regret it sometimes, but sometimes it's not. So I can be rather spontaneous when it comes to my buying method, which is not very S behavior. Yeah, muting. Is that you too? I guess it's maybe women. You know, women like to shop, they like to buy, and it's probably that we just buy on the spot rather than checking different brands and all that. Yeah. Yes, that's true. Buying can be emotional. Buying can be emotional. Yes. Thank you. I'm checking Facebook. Yeah. All right. So let me see. I don't know if there's any other question. We're close to the top of the hour. And I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that has that joined us live. And for those who are going to listen to this recording, it's posted on our Leaders Priority Facebook group. I'm also going to send the recording to all those who registered for this session today. So thank you very much for your contributions, for your thoughts, for the enriching discussions. We've learned that we are different, but we are predictably different. Really, being able to predict others is key. So our mentor, John C. Maxwell, he says something. He says, leaders are readers, and leaders are not just readers of books, they are readers of people. So we need to learn to read people, to read the room and read those around us so that we can add value to them and follow the platinum rule, which is treating others the way they want to be treated. And that only happens when we understand people, when we're able to read them correctly. So thank you once again for joining us. And we look forward to next month's session of the Leaders Priority. It's going to happen, I think, May 4th. And we look forward to having you with us again. If there are any topics that you think, oh, I would like us to discuss, I would like us to talk about on this platform, you can let us know, and we'll be happy to bring that on so we can have enriching discussions around that as well. We appreciate you. Let's keep growing, let's keep learning, and let's grow together. So have a great day, everyone, and fantastic week. Thank you once again to our speaker and facilitator for today, Coach Sylvester Chimeka.
Thank you.